Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Regina Sunshine, coming to you live from what is always a beautiful day for me here in Douglasville, Georgia, with the Regina Sunshine Show, where I bring you my version of midday motivation, helping you get a Regina Sunshine state of mind. And I'm so excited about today's show. I have three amazing guests that are scheduled to be here with me, Vanya Francis, John Robinson, and Mr. David Hodges. It's going to be a great show. I can't wait for you guys to meet them. And let me calm down a little. I'm talking a little bit fast. I feel it coming. But before we get into the show, I do want to make a couple of announcements to remind you guys of some things that we have going on with Regina Sunshine Global Network. First of all, on August the 24th, we have our 5th annual Awesome Girl Awards. That's where we honor girls ages 5 to 17 that are excelling in whatever area of gifting that they have. You know, if they're photographers, if they're entrepreneurs, inventors, athletes, whatever it is that God has gifted them in and they're excelling and living on purpose, we like to honor our girls. We are partnering this year with the Andrew and Walter Young YMCA. So we'll be right downtown at the Y with the Awesome Girls. And in honor of this being our 5-year anniversary, we have decided to launch the Awesome Girl Collaboration Book. That's right, we've got 30 girls ages 5 to 17 that have all written a chapter in our book telling why they believe that they're an awesome girl. So I'm so excited about the opportunity to help these girls as first-time authors become best-selling authors, because that's the goal here, but also to give them a chance to minister to other girls, because with us having 30 girls, every girl is different, has different backgrounds, different dreams, different talents and abilities, and it is my goal that any girl who picks up our Awesome Girl book reads the book and find some girl in the book that she can relate to. And so if that girl's an awesome girl, guess what? That means the girl reading it is an awesome girl as well. So again, that is August the 24th. You can go to my website, reginasunshine.com, and you can sign up there to come out and just help us celebrate our girls. But also, if you want to be a vendor or a sponsor, you can go to our website and do that there as well. And I'm really excited because we have an all-girl award show. That's right. We've got a girl MC. We've got a girl DJ. Two of our two caterers are past Awesome Girls. I think classes 3 and 4 of Awesome Girls are our caterers. It's going to be awesome. So I said it right. It's going to be awesome. But anyway, make sure you support our girls. Like I said, this is the favorite thing that I do every year. I cannot wait for you guys to meet these girls and help us to celebrate them and push them on to greatness. After the Awesome Girl Awards in November, we're having the 3rd annual Regina Sunshine Curvy and Confident Empowerment Week. That's 5 days of events celebrating everything that makes us women. From that Tuesday, we have an online kickoff. That Wednesday, we have a comedy show with Miss Jen, who was on the road last year opening for Cat Williams. That Thursday, we have an open mic spoken word event with Journey the Poetess over at Urban Grind. That Friday, we have a young lady from Washington, D.C. coming in, Akila Benjamin, doing her Network Your Curves Off seminar. And then that Saturday, right here at Regina Sunshine Global Network, 4040 Chapel Hill Road, Sweet Tea in Douglasville, Georgia, we're going to have the 3rd annual Regina Sunshine Curvy and Confident Empowerment Week award show and fashion show. Again, you can go to reginasunshine.com, sign up to be a vendor, sign up to be a sponsor, get your ticket to come out and celebrate with us as we honor some truly amazing women. All right. Now, today's lineup here at Regina Sunshine Global Network. This morning, of course, we had the Stony Love Show from 9 to 11. Of course, now it's Regina Sunshine Show. And then at 5 o'clock today, we have Focus Forward with Robin. You know, Robin comes in from Greenville, South Carolina, to bring her own method of love and encouragement and helping you focus forward and move past through those things that maybe you've been stuck in. And then at 9 o'clock, we have The Curve. And The Curve is our version of a roundtable women's talk show, but from a curvy woman's perspective. So make sure you tune into these shows the rest of the day here at Regina Sunshine Global Network. Okay? Now, I always go to my first break talking about something that I'm thankful for. And I have to say that I've written down one thing, and I'll mention that, but something else is coming to mind. Number one, I'm thankful for my brothers, and I do that with air quotes because I'm one of 5 girls. I don't have any blood brothers, and I used to pray that God would send me brothers. And in the course of my life, I've met 5 men that I call my brothers. I said they're my brothers by love, and they love me, and they support me, and they look out for me, and they do everything a big brother would do for a sister. And so to my brothers, especially Ale, I want to mention Ale out in Seattle. Thank you guys for loving me and for always supporting me and keeping me involved in your projects. Ale has just launched a new web series out in Seattle, and he interviewed me on his web series on Wednesday. And so I'm thankful that you hadn't forgotten about your sister here in Georgia. And I'm thankful that God gave you guys to me. The second thing I'm thankful for today is forgiveness. We all mess up, right? And we all do things that we're not necessarily proud of. I'm thankful, number one, that God loves us enough that he sent his son to die for our sins so that we can receive his forgiveness, that also that we love each other enough here on earth that we give each other the benefit of the doubt and we forgive each other whenever we've wronged each other. And so I'm thankful for the people in my life who love me, and when I mess up, they forgive me and allow me to be better on a daily basis. That's it. So I'm going to take a quick break. When I come back, he is in the building, and wait, I can't wait for you guys to meet Mr. David Hodges. You're live with Regina Sunshine here on the Regina Sunshine Show. Where? At Regina Sunshine Global Network. All right, you guys, you're back live on the air with Regina Sunshine here at the Regina Sunshine Show at Regina Sunshine Global Network. And I'm so excited to have my first guest, might be only guest of the day. I don't know. Like you said, interview goes however long. Welcome to the show, Mr. David Hodges.
Thank you. Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
So good to have you here.
Thank you.
I always like to mention how I met someone, and actually someone that I love and respect a great deal. Miss Lanita Mitchell Blackwell actually forwarded your information to me, and I know anytime she connects me with someone, it's someone I need to know, and it's someone I need to have on my show. So big shout out to Lanita.
Yeah.
Thank you for continuing to send great people here.
Amen.
So do this for us. Tell our audience a little bit about who you are and what you're doing. Speak up.
Well, my name is David, like you said, and I wrote a book called Walking with God Through It All. This is where I've been walking with God for the past 40 years, well, 39 really. But I have gone through a lot. I have been diagnosed with schizophrenia, and the Lord has delivered me from that. I have walked been through it, and but one thing I would like to say right off the top, uh, even though the Lord brought me through it, but you have to be aware that our words are powerful, and when the doctor told me that that was that diagnosis, the words schizophrenia never came out of my mouth. I never received those words, and that way the Lord has always been able to. That's how I've been able to walk it out, even though I went through different hospitals and things like that. But I never let out the word, never owned that diagnosis, and that's how the Lord brought me through. So I wanted to say to people that that no matter the words are powerful. That's what I would like to say.
That's good. I always tell people that, just because a doctor gives you a diagnosis doesn't mean you have to own it. You can say the diagnosis says this, but I believe the report of the Lord, and that makes all the difference in the world. I did get your bio from Anita as well, and she talked about just all the things, I guess, that you overcame as a child and even, through this diagnosis. Tell us this. Coming from, I guess, from the South, from a family that has been through a lot, what was, I guess, the reception from the family with your diagnosis?
Well, actually, I'm kind of like a eagle that walks alone, and so I never really depended on my family. I taken this on my own because I'm a man that I traveled a lot. I worked on cruise ships, and I was in that arena when this thing was happened. So my family did support me.
Yes.
Because, well, even though I wasn't around, but they really stepped in and supported me. They never, they was good. They never to say it that I shouldn't, they never put me down, I guess, in a way. They always supported the diagnosis. And I think that was part of the reason why the Lord brought me through.
Absolutely. I did read that you were a baker, and that there was something you learned from your mother. Tell us about your life as a baker.
Well, like at the age of 10, I was watching my mother kneading dough, and there was like this warm love came over me to bake. Now I know that the Lord was anointing me to bake, and so from there I dreamed of going around the world working as a baker, and I jumped into, well, I didn't jump in, but I walked into that arena at 19. At the age of 19, I started working on cruise ships, and I've been halfway around the world. Excuse me. I've been halfway around the world working on cruise ships, and that is a love of mine. And like now, I'm really into really getting into baking as a cookie. I have the Lord has given me the ability to create cookies, and so like now I'm looking to open up a cookie bakery.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I think it's interesting that you recognize that it's an anointing to bake. I tell people all the time that God has gifted each of us with something, and that anointing also allows us to create business, to create income, so that we can use our gift to be a blessing to other people, but also to create income to take care of ourselves. So I think it's interesting that you noticed that pretty early, that you had an anointing in that arena.
Yes, and that's what gives me that love. That's what keeps me motivated. Because I can walk into a bakery and it's just like at home.
Yes.
Because when you love something, it's easy. And so it's easy for me to walk into a bakery and just put together. But one thing I also like to say is that baking is an art. It is something that you really have to concentrate on. It's really something. It's a skill. You have to be accurate in your measurements and ingredients and things like that. Because one mistake, you have to throw out the whole batch. You cannot. It's not like cooking. You can always add something to it, and make it better. But baking is not like that. You have to start all over from scratch. I'm a scratch baker because I love to do it from scratch. So you have to start all over and redo it again.
Well, next time bring us some cookies, right, Shannon? Shannon is
Oh,
my producer over there. Next time
that's
bring us some cookies
okay.
and we'll taste them live on air for you. That
All
sound
right.
good?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Well, so you did write
Mhm,
your book
mhm,
talking about your story.
mhm,
First of all, show your book to everybody.
mhm.
What made you decide to write the book?
Well, I'm a man of prayer, and I pray when I'm in when I'm in devotion and praying. The Lord would give me something, and I would just jot it down. That was the way I did it. And one morning I was in prayer, and the Lord said, "There's a book in you." And I and I and I went to my notes, and I looked at all my books, my notes, and everything. And so I called Dr. Watkins in office, and his secretary gave me Miss Miss Blackwell, and
Yes.
and so from there I made an appointment with Miss Blackwell, and I showed her my notes and everything, and she said, "Well, yeah, this is good, and we can do something with this." And so we met, and she set me up with some meeting with another young lady, and which, well, I won't go into that because that didn't work out.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
so then me and Miss Blackwell started working together, and then we worked together for about a year and 2 months, and but from that we had perfected this book, and so now it is out on the market, and it's a great book. I believe that everyone that reads my book will have a new beginning in some area of their life.
Well, that was my next
Hmm.
question. What do you hope the readers gain
Hmm.
from reading your book and hearing your testimony?
Yeah, that's it. I believe that with the meaning behind the cover of this book, the cover of this book is dawn of a new beginning, and the Lord gave me that in prayer that everyone that reads my book will have a new beginning in some area of their life, and I have experienced that with the first time I showed my book to someone. I went to the library, and I just was uh, going to I was going to do some research, and then there was this young lady. She was sitting on the couch, like had her eyes closed like this, and I walked up to her and put the book in her face and like this and said, "If you see this on the shelf, would you read it?" And and she opened her eyes and looked at it and saw God, and then she said, "Yes." And then she looked at the book and she read the back of it, and she said, "This man been through something, you know." And so, and she read the book, and I ended up, she was needing. I was like her angel at that point because
Wow.
she needed someone to talk to, and I took and we moved from where she was sitting to a table, and I prayed with her, and I open the prayer up because that's what I have been doing. A lot of time when people read my book, they are seeking prayer. They're seeking prayer, and I'm a praying man. So I blessed her, and her husband came in, and that was on her birthday, and amazing. When they left the library, her husband came back in and said, "We want to take you to dinner." Because the anointing was on. So I went to dinner with them, and I ministered to them throughout her for about 2 hours before we departed. And I gave her one of my books. I was going to sell it, but I gave her one. And that's what the Lord been doing. He's been allowing me to give the book to people, as he leads me. I give it.
Yes.
And and but that was amazing how she really received the word from me. You know.
Wow. Wow, I love it. It's powerful what your story is doing
Mm-hmm.
to change lives.
Mm-hmm.
From the people that are reading it, I guess the feedback you're getting from the people that have had the opportunity, people in your family, people you've met. What is some of the feedback that you're getting?
Well, they are saying that this is a great book, and they love it. I mean, it's like uh, it's it's not hard to explain, but it's like it's a, I just, overjoyed my heart when someone said they read the book and it has changed their life, and they
Yes.
have come back and said it really is a new beginning because of certain things that they have read in the book. Because I talk about like when my parents separated, and how well I say, but when my brother asked me what I wanted to do when I grew up, and I said I wanted to be like my daddy, and uh, it was like going through that and saying that, and getting support from my mother from saying that, it was really uh, great, and but people are saying, I don't know, it's like they pick out certain areas of the book and then they say they are enjoying it. This one lady, I gave it to her, but I haven't really uh, talked to her since. But she was a person that I ministered to as well, and she was needing prayer because I have on my car the sign of my book, and when people see the sign, that's what started a conversation. And when I tell them about the book, a lot of times people go and purchase it, and I haven't met as many people that have purchased the book, but the ones that I have come back to me and said something and gave a testimony, it has been great.
That's good. So it sounds like this book has turned into a witnessing tool. It's an
Yes.
opportunity for you. It opens the door for the conversation
Yeah.
about what Christ has done in your life, and so that you can have that conversation with them.
Yeah. Yes, that's
So
it.
what has that been like to be able to share the gospel, to be able to, speak what's on your heart and tell what God has done for you, because even as you talk about it, you light up.
Okay.
So to be able to share the truth of the gospel, to give people that hope, what does that feel like?
Well, that is great. But what I just share one. My pastor one time said that we was going to have an encounter with God, and the next day I was going. I went to this place called Covenant's House, and that is a place for teenage young ladies that was pregnant, had ran away from home. I was
Yes.
going to volunteer my time to be a baker there, and so when I went, they didn't need a baker, so they had a good baker at the time, so they didn't need one. So when I was on my way back home, the Lord said to me, what are you doing for me? And so when I said, well, I thought about it. Then I said, well, I'm going to do something for you. So I went home and got some tracts, and I headed to the park. But on my way to the park, the Lord said, you can go this way on the bus, which will take you 15 minutes to get there. You can go the other way, which will take you an hour. But then the Lord said, go to the one that takes you an hour to get there. And when I stopped at the bus stop, I was there for maybe a minute or so, and then a gentleman walked up to me, and he said, Happy New Year, Scott. This was the 5th of January of '99, what I'm talking about now. And he said, Happy New Year's. And I said, Happy New Year's, and I gave him a tract. It was 10 steps to salvation, but I don't remember what the tract all said.
Yeah.
So he read the tract in its entirety, and then he said, this is good. This is very good. But then he started challenging me about my walk with the Lord. And me and him went at it for about 5 minutes. I mean, he was really challenging me. And then when I said, I live this gospel, and that's when he said, that's what I want to hear you say.
Wow.
And when he said that, he stepped in and said some words that my father had said to me when I was 17 years old. And I know I hadn't spoke those words to nobody, and I know my father hadn't spoke those words to nobody. And so that's when I said, I was going through some things, and that's when I said to him, for everything that the devil has taken from me, God is going to give it back to me. And when I said that, and we talked some more, but he also said, what if he don't? What if the Lord don't? And I didn't have an answer at that time, but after praying on it, the Lord told me I would never look back like Lot's wife, and so I was praying. I was at that night as I read my Bible every night. The Lord spoke to me as I read my Bible and said, that was an angel. Then I rehearsed the situation, the whole scenario, and that's when I realized he had spoke in my father's voice, and from that point on, the Lord has been putting me in places to really bring me back from what I was going through.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's always a blessing to hear people talking about, your walk and how God has blessed you. And it's so awesome to see you moving forward with that. I have one final question. Legacy. When you think about your life, what is the legacy that you hope you have left behind?
I really want to write more books. I want to put my wisdom in books so that people 100 years from now could read it and say, this was David Hodges that inspired me to go forward. You know.
Yes, that's awesome. So tell them where they can buy the book.
You can get my book at my website at David is Faithful. David is Faithful. That's the best place to get it.
I love it. DavidIsFaithful.com.
.com, yes.
Awesome. Well, we thank you so much for being here. If you can hang around to the end, I want to get pictures with you and all the other guests.
Okay.
That sounds good?
That sounds good.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back here on the Regina Sunshine Show at Regina Sunshine Global Network. All right, you guys, welcome back to the Regina Sunshine Show here at Regina Sunshine Global Network. And I'm so excited to have my second guest of the day here with us. Welcome to the show, Mr. John Robinson.
Yes, it's a pleasure to be here.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing just great, just great.
Well, I like to mention how I met a guest and a good someone I highly respect, Miss Elena Sanders, actually
Yeah.
connected us, and I'm just thankful. Hi, Elena, because one thing I know about her, just like my friend Lanita, you know, if Elena says I need to know you, then you're good people.
Oh,
So
good,
it's good to have you
good,
here.
good. Well, it's indeed a pleasure to be here, and I'm here to talk about my book, Chicken Scratch.
I know. Let's get into it. We'll do this for our audience. Tell our audience a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, I'm John Robinson, and I was born in Valdosta, Georgia, and I'm an associate pastor at the First Antioch Missionary Baptist Church. And first of all, giving unto the Spirit of God, the head of my life. Okay, and I would like to let you know that I'm a cancer survivor. I was diagnosed with terminal cancer in 2008, and it's been a rough and rugged road. And I'm here to let you know that I dedicated my life to promoting entrepreneurs, and I'm a civil rights activist in the community. And I'm here to promote small businesses and dedicated the balance of my life to that cause.
Well, just like our first guest, you're a man of a huge background. So,
I understand.
well, you know, you're here today to talk about your book, Chicken Scratch, and what a tremendous story of overcoming and all the things that happened in your life to lead you to where you are now. Tell us a little bit about your story before we get into the book itself.
Well, I was the lead plaintiff of a civil litigation that lasted 12 grueling years. Manuel Noriega was in the basement during the trial. It was a high-profile case, and I represented 850 blacks and a few whites that are associated with blacks for discrimination.
Yes.
And it's kind of like I was up on the top of the mountain and fell off on the outside edges and was dragged up the rough side. And we suffered tremendously from that. We lost everything that we owned, lost everything that we had. It was a fight that it let us know where we are as far as Black America, okay, and where we stand. You believe that there's a justice for you, but when you go through the federal courts, I went through the federal courts, and I had to meet what we call the test, okay? And a black woman by the name of Patterson, back in 1989, she had a case that was before the federal courts, and the whole nation was on edges, waiting for the verdict of that trial to come down. And when it came down, she lost the case, and there was 105 civil litigations that was pending based upon the opinion of that case. And when she lost the case, 103 of those, two of those cases fell through the loops of the law, and only 3 remained standing, and mine was one of those cases.
Wow.
And we made it through it, and the test was that you could only be discriminated against at the very moment of hire, okay? The moment of hire means that when you fill out the W-4 form and the man say you were hired, if you wasn't discriminated at that particular moment, you didn't win your case, okay?
Wow.
So we went through, the case lasted for, trial lasted for 8 long, grueling weeks. And like I say, Manuel Noriega was in the basement. I had George Hoover out of Miami. The attorney, Willie Gary from South Florida, he filed the litigation for me. And he actually filed the EEOC complaint. And then we ended up having David Lippman, and we ended up with Jack Scarola, and Denny and Skersey, the now federal judge in Palm Beach County, black judge named Moses Baker. He was my attorney at the time, and he came in as my Moses in the wilderness. And we fought the case. We had a whole lot of different incidents occurred. We was assigned dangerous jobs. There was threats on our lives, and we went through the whole 9 yards as far as the discrimination part of it.
Wow.
And we fought the battle.
Wow. You've been through some stuff.
Oh yes, most definitely.
Tell us what has been your encouragement as you've gone through these challenges in life.
Well, having a positive attitude and having a positive outlook on life. And you have to take all the negativity and bundle it up and create something positive out of it. And what made me fight the way that I did was that I believe that we are people that have a tremendous amount of talent, and it was God given for us to succeed. It's not for no one to come along and say because he's white or some other color or the origin and come in and take it away from him. He don't have the right to do that. So I was more or less like driven from within.
Wow. So your book, Chicken Scratch.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us why you decided to write this book.
Well, chicken scratch is a word that's honed out of the past. And what it does, it defines a handwriting that can't be defined. And my life was basically like this chicken scratch. It couldn't really be defined in words because of so much that we went through. You know, when we have a vision of a dream of hope, and we got children that we are raising, and we prepare the future for our children. And when someone come along and just take that away from you, then it hurts you from the deepest core from within your heart. You done got your mind set on getting children educated. I came from a broken background from migrant work, picking fruit, this kind of thing. And I ended up with 4 sons, and one have a bachelor's degree, a master's in psychology. One runs a family business called Fabrico Fabrication. The other one is an architect I sent to Savannah School of Art and Design, SCAD.
Yes.
And the other one went right here in Atlanta to, I can't think of the name of the school right now, but it's Georgia Polytech or something like that.
Okay.
Okay. And he's an engineer. And we believe in progression. We as a people have come a good distance, but we got a ways to go. And a lot of that comes because we seem to not hold on to from whence we came, and we seem to forget about all the hardships that caused us to get to where we've gotten to. You take, right now, we are basically economically oppressed. Chicken Scratch talks about that, and it talks about the life of people that came into my life. We are basically economically scrapped. I don't care what city you go into, you're going to find that there is a lot of poverty in the black community, okay? And it's because we don't have no financial institutions that's based upon our communities. And that seems to be a tremendous problem that we have. We don't really, we went from progression to almost like a labor force of servants, okay? And even though we have segregation, we have integrated segregation in these days and time, and Chicken Scratch kind of touch off on that. And it also talks about the life of individuals that came into my life, talk about the livelihood of a mother, what she went through as a battered mom, and what it take to rise above the line of poverty.
I love it. I do. What are you hoping that readers will get from reading the book?
Well, I hope that they can find that the inspiration to move forward, to press on, to make certain that they can be all they want to be. See, after all, you are your greatest asset, okay? And when you realize that you are your greatest asset, then you have to want it, you have to have it, and you have to go after it to get it. You can't just sit back and wait for someone else to do it for you. Mm-hmm. And the main thing is that, not getting off of the issue, but Black America suffers because we won't just come together the way we need to come together. That's in the churches, that's throughout society. We can change things overnight if we just came together and catered to one another. And I touch off on that in the book a little bit. I'm hoping that people can get out of my book the inspiration to move forward, to understand that unity, love of family means a whole lot, and that you should be able to succeed in life if you apply yourself, okay?
Absolutely. So, do you think you'll write a part 2?
It's a
It's a
possibility. I'm
possibility.
right now on one called Trapped in the Bubble, and my friend, a friend of mine, he written one, and it's called it's about a soldier, an unknown soldier. It's called The Tribute of an Unknown Soldier, and that soldier was the inspirator in my life that carried me when I couldn't carry myself. Okay, and I just wanted to mention that because it takes more than just yourself. It takes something from within for you to survive it. And then we started our family business, and we worked for companies like Waste Management on a state level. Okay, we do work for industrial waste. We do work for them now. Uh, we were specialists for the state of Florida for years, and I believed in a lot of entrepreneurship and being in business for yourself, working for yourself. You got to have ownership, uh, uh, be driven to go into business to do something than other than just being an everyday servant.
Hmm.
You know.
Hmm. Tell me this: how has your faith played a role in your life
Well,
and in your overcoming?
listen, this unknown soldier lifted me up and turned me all the way around, and it caused me to be able to survive the racism. Uh, when I say survive, I mean that we was actually put under federal protection for 5 years. We went through all the threats and the scrutiny that comes with it. I sued a man by the name of George Calkins, and his wife was the first lady of the opera in Denver, Colorado. And they was very, very wealthy people. And during the time of the litigation, he was the best friend of the acting president, which was Bush. Okay, and I felt all the pressure from that. And I got blackballed. I couldn't get a job within 5 counties, which included Dade County, which was Miami, Broward County, which was Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach County, which was Palm Beach, Indian River, which covered Fort Pierce, uh, and several other counties, and got where I just couldn't get a job any place. When someone would hire me, they find out who I were, they would fire me on the spot, and I got to the point where I couldn't even get groceries for my home, and a church come by and allowed me to use their facilities to cook, and I gave them a percentage based upon what we was doing. And I think it was the third. And they was building a power plant in the community, and I was able to sell dinners. And it came a point where they want me to settle the case. It's a very diversified story, and it's all here in chicken scratch now. But when they asked me to actually settle the case, they offered me $980,000, and that was during the time when it was when they converted to a class action. So if they could have got me to settle alone, it wouldn't have cost them as much. But I refused to, and the bank that I was doing business with was in with them. So they gave me a demand of 10 days to either settle the case, I lose everything that I had, which was all my welding supplies, my equipment. I had what everyone else had out there. I was a specialist for the Department of Transportation for the state of Florida, and they thought I had a contract. And at that time, I was about to engage in a contract, but the good Lord allowed me to understand that if I signed the contract, that it would cause me more harm. So I went to the people and says, I'm not going to sign a contract, but I come to work for someone that you would hire. And I did that, and I released my equipment out to them. So when they thought that I was underneath the contract, that they could harm me more, they made a demand for $80,000, which I didn't have. And then they gave me 10 days, and I couldn't come up with it in 10 days. So they come by and they picked up my machinery, and they rode it round and round in town for 2 hours for everyone to see that they had got me.
Yeah.
Okay? And I went through that. I almost had a nervous breakdown behind it, going through it for so many years. And God helped me together, okay, so that I was able to sustain myself. I went fishing and fed my family from fishing. I went hunting, fed them from hunting, and different things like this. And we survived it. And then after all of that, then we come up and started our business, and then I got diagnosed with terminal cancer. Okay, and they gave me 2 to 6 months to live. Had me to get me to hospice. I was in the 4th stage. I had a nesting of small tumors on my left side of my stomach. I had a colony of almost marble-sized tumors on the right side of my stomach, and I had a tumor that was the size of a grapefruit over the top of my stomach that had grew down inside of me for over 20 years, and they had treated me for a peptic ulcer. Okay, and they gave me 2 to 6 months, had me to see hospice, and God set me back from the 4th stage to the 3rd stage, and they come in, they removed my stomach, took my small intestines and made me a pouch, an 8-ounce pouch, which I have today. I had a feeding tube, it just pushed out, and my body accepted the small pouch, so I eat periodically all through the day. And right now I have low iron, and I take shots once a month, and I do that the rest of my life. And I lost all my teeth. These are false that I have in. I lost all my teeth. I went out, you can see my skull. I got down to, my normal weight was 215. I got down to 103 recorded weight. And when I was going, after I came out of surgery, I got down, I believe it was like 97 pounds or something in that degree. Looked like I was just falling apart, but God held me here.
Yes.
Okay? And to let everyone out there know that there is a God that dwells beyond those stars, and He's on your side.
Yes.
And to be able to withstand the cancer of racism, then withstand a physical cancer of this kind, and be able to sit here and talk with a positive attitude and a positive mind, okay? That's how God inspired me. So I want you to know that God is on your side. He'll forever be on your side. And when you are down at your lowest, all you have to do is recognize that there's someone there other than you. And as great as He that's within you, than He that's of the world.
That's good stuff. That's good
You know.
stuff. Well, tell our audience where they can go and get your book.
Well, it's online, Amazon. You can find it on Kindle, and Barnes and Noble, and American, not American, but Books of a Million. You can find it there. You can find it there.
Awesome. Well, we're going to begin to wrap up the show, but before we go, is there anything on your heart that you wanted to say today that you hadn't said?
Yes.
Anything stirring?
Yes, I want to thank my publisher for giving me the opportunity to publish my book. And it's IC Publishing Company. And Shalonda Rowland is my publisher. And I thank her, and I thank Ms. Elena for having me, and thank you for having me on your show. And I like to say this before we close out, is that my book, Chicken Scratch, it defines everything about my life. It talks about my childhood, discrimination that I faced as when I was a child. It talks about my mother living a battered life, going through brutal marriages and divorces. It talks about a time when I got 14, at the age of 14, I had a jail sentence of 5 years. And a man named David Mullins come out of jail and got me and my friend Eddie Amos out of jail, and he changed our lives. Now Eddie, it tells the story that Eddie got killed later, and he died young, and it's an unsolved crime to this day. And it talks about that, and then it leads into the story of the people that inspired my life, that came in and helped turn my life around. It's a small book, but it's a lot of power in this book, and all we have to do is realize from the book. Now, this is my artwork. I am an amateur artist, okay, and this is my artwork that's on the book, on the front and the back, and I just hope that a person can be inspired to understand that the Lord Jesus Christ is in all our lives, and He's there for you. And any time that you have a problem, you got law enforcement out there as far as filing civil litigations, stand up If you be discriminated against, take a stand. Don't just stand idly by, and learn your history from whence you came, and be sure to understand that you're not just a servant, that you can cater to one another and build this future here in this country.
That's good stuff. Well, I thank you so much for being here. Again, thank you to Mr. David Hodges for being on and sharing his story, to Mr. John Robinson, two amazing authors with two incredible testimonies. Make sure you follow them and get their books. And to our audience, I thank you for tuning in. I leave you with the words I always leave you with. Remember this: God loves you just the way you are. You are beautiful because you were created in love. You were fearfully and wonderfully made. You have the seeds of greatness within you. You were born to live a victorious life. You are brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous. You are worthy of the best things in life. Make sure you guys go to my website, reginasunshine.com. See all the information about the Awesome Girl Award. Support our girls. Support our young people doing positive things. And I'll leave you with my personal motto. I always say it's not over till I win. If I hadn't won yet, that just means it's not over. So I tell you today, it's not over till you win. If you hadn't won yet, baby, that just means it's not over. Be blessed and keep winning. We're out.